So we'll start with Zach.
Yeah, what's up?
Go.
Wait, one second. 1 second.
We'll have to start all
Are you
over.
pulling up the?
Well, I don't know what you said. I haven't been listening, but it doesn't really matter.
Just cut this out.
No.
Cut
Leave
it out
No, I
until Zach
can't
starts
because we're
talking.
all on camera.
Leave it.
No.
Just wait. What is
Hello and welcome to Make Your Point Quarantine Edition. We are using Zoom so we could talk about the biggest news in free agency that has been happening this past week because the new NFL season has officially started a couple days ago. So there are a lot of trades, a lot of free agent signings, things going on in the NFL that we want to get down to. So today we're here with first time Make Your Pointer, Jake Ligouri, also brother of Jagger Ligouri, the flag football player. Good job, Jake. And as always, my co-host and varsity water polo goalie, Zachary Roisman.
Thank you.
So there's so much big news going on that has been going on these past few days. The biggest news, most definitely, is the news that Patriots fans were slapped in the face by the reality that Tom Brady is leaving the New England Patriots to go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which I don't think literally anyone expected. So if you placed a bet on that, you got a lot of freaking money because I don't think anyone thought that he would be going to Tampa. But anyways, let's get down to it. I think this wasn't just big news for Tom Brady, but the NFL as a whole. Zach, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on this?
All right, here I'll just show you something, and I'll leave it here. This is, you can see it. All right, this is all I have to say on the subject.
Oh no.
Well, I'm not a big Tom Brady fan. Not at all. All I can say is I'm happy that he come to the Dolphins. I don't really care where he went, and I'm glad that he's there because honestly, I did not want to see Jameis Winston start another season. I am just tired of Jameis Winston. He is annoying, and I don't like him. And he was demanding ridiculous amounts of money for mediocre playing. So now they'll have Tom Brady play mediocre, but they'll have somebody who's, a fan favorite. But for me, this does it takes away from his legacy. No matter what, he'll always be a Patriot. And even he said it in his Instagram post, but it's the same thing with Michael Jordan. This is just like Michael Jordan playing for the Wizards. I don't think Tom Brady is really going to do anything in Tampa, and I don't think he's going to ever be thought of as a Buccaneers player.
Yeah, I think this is also a big win for the Buccaneers too, because they went from winning games with a mediocre quarterback, because obviously Jameis Winston put up 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, to now a more consistent quarterback and more reliable quarterback in Tom Brady.
Yes.
I think the biggest thing that people are looking for right now is to see if Tom Brady can really hold the Bucs in their kind of playoff spot that they've been looking for in these past years. The big question that has been going on with the Patriots for the last 2 decades has been, is it Brady or is it Belichick who has led the Patriots to all the success? Zach, I know your point on this. Jake, I don't know yours, but Bill Belichick is the clear mind behind it. Tom Brady clearly had his moments. He was the franchise quarterback for 20 years. No player has ever left a team after 20 years being with an NFL team. But now we finally get to see, is Brady going to lead this Bucs team to a playoff, to a Super Bowl, and can Belichick do the same for his lesser Patriots squad now? And I'm really excited to see what Tom Brady can do, especially now seeing him team up with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, which is probably the best receiver duo in the NFL now that Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen aren't together anymore. So I'm excited to see what Tom Brady can do in Tampa Bay. But who knows what this holds for the NFL next year and in years to come. He's turning 43, so I'm just excited to see.
I think that he'll at least be able to maintain the Buccaneers streaks of playoffs. Maybe at least wild card. That's my expectations right now for them.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I concur.
Okay. More quarterback news that has been going on for free agency so far. Some quarterbacks have left their teams to go and move on. Phillip Rivers went to the Indianapolis Colts for a year, $25 million. He recently moved to Florida this offseason to be closer to family. I thought that he was actually going to go to the Bucs because that's where he moved to. He moved closer to Tampa. But turns out he went to Indianapolis. Frank Reich was his offensive coordinator back in San Diego, but is now the head coach for the Colts. So I think that because their close relationship, Phillip Rivers had that connection there. I'm excited to see that fit. He's on his older side too. I don't know how much longer he'll be playing. That's probably why they signed for 1 year. But he's still younger than Tom Brady, so who knows how much left he has in him. Teddy Bridgewater signed with the Panthers for 3 years, $63 million. I think this is a great pickup for the Carolina Panthers, especially seeing what Teddy Bridgewater did last year when Drew Brees went out. He went 5-0 for the Saints when Taysom Hill was kind of in and out as their quarterback. But Sean Payton has said Taysom Hill's our quarterback for the future. Teddy Bridgewater wants a chance to play, and he's kind of recaptured his magic after that gruesome leg injury he had back in the day. But this thing with Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers is really something I want to get into right now, because the Panthers basically, they had talked with Teddy Bridgewater this week, and they said to Cam Newton, we're going to give you permission to seek a trade right now. And Cam Newton was like, nope, that's not true at all. I didn't want this. You guys are forcing this on me. Jake, what are your takes on Cam Newton, and where do you think he might go?
I think that he's definitely recently been not as hype as he was coming out of college and performing at that caliber. But bringing in Teddy Bridgewater, I think, is definitely the better option as to fill the quarterback spot, because he's mostly been counted out after a mediocre career at Minnesota. So once he gets counted out from injuries, he comes back in New Orleans and goes undefeated, filling in Drew Brees' spot. So I think it's definitely a smart move, and I don't really know anywhere. I'm just excited to see where Cam Newton will end up.
Zach?
Yeah, what's up?
Where do you think Cam Newton's going to end up, and what do you think of the situation that's going on with him and the Panthers?
I don't actually know. You know, I'm not happy to see him leave the Panthers, but on one hand, I don't want to see him leave the Panthers, but I'm also happy to see him with a new team. I think that he is really not shown all that he's capable of, and I know he's done great, over his career, but I think he could even still do more and be better with a better team. With that being said, I don't know where I'd like to see him, where I even think he would go. Yeah.
Your opinions on him coming to Miami?
We'll get to the Dolphins later. I have a lot of thoughts on the Dolphins offseason moves right now.
He's
but
too old.
I think with Cam Newton,
you think he's too old?
He's only 30.
Yeah.
For the Dolphins.
For the Dolphins, I want somebody young that's going to be with him for a while.
I think the biggest thing with Cam Newton that I don't think maybe the Panthers organization has kind of given up on is how he has been a little bit injury prone in the past couple of years. But even so, I think when healthy, he is a MVP caliber quarterback. He has been. He was the MVP back in 2015 when they went to the Super Bowl. I think Cam Newton has had an amazing NFL career. He's been with the Panthers for 9 years. I'm excited to see what he can do. I wouldn't be surprised if he went to the New England Patriots and kind of joining Bill Belichick. I also wouldn't be surprised if Jameis Winston went to the Patriots and then kind of did a quarterback swap, a non-purpose quarterback swap. But I think
actually, no, that'd be awesome. I would love to see the Patriots be bogged down by Jameis Winston. I don't want them to be successful. I realized I just made the throw-up thing, but I realized I don't want them to be good. I want the Patriots to be bad. So I would love to see Jameis Winston go there. I don't think Jameis Winston would be good on that team, and I think the team would not be good with him.
Why do you think he wouldn't be good, and do you think that coaching staff could turn around Jameis's mistakes?
Could they turn him around? I don't think so.
Would it
still be a successful team? Yes. I think that the Patriots organization is just a premier football organization, and no matter what, they're going to be successful, even with Jameis Winston. With that being said, I think they're going to be less successful because he is, I want to say he's inconsistent, but he's not inconsistent. He's just consistently not like performing only well. So depending on how you want to define consistent, you can count on him to give you some touchdowns, but you can also count on him to, throw a bunch of picks. And I think that's really bad for what the Patriots would be looking for.
I also wouldn't be surprised. And but let me say this. Tom Brady was drafted, 199th, 6th round, went on to be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, right? They drafted this kid, Jarrett Stidham, in the 4th round last year. The same young white kid from this random college last year. I really wouldn't be surprised if Brady had this sight. This kid's going to be the future. Watch this kid. We all think it's over. We all think the Patriots dynasty's over. They're going to get Cam Newton or some random other quarterback that's been in the league for years. Watch Jarrett Stidham go on and win 5 Super Bowls. I'm calling it right now. I wouldn't be surprised because I feel like as a Dolphins fan, that's just my luck. And I know you guys feel that pain too. And I just think I really wouldn't be surprised if Jarrett Stidham just becomes a superstar and takes the reins from Tom Brady. But moving on from the Patriots because they're annoying. Some other quarterbacks. Marcus Mariota went to the Raiders. Clearly on a back quarterback deal. I think it was for like 2 years, $15 million, something very small. Definitely not. He's not going to start. Derek Carr, I don't think is going to leave. He's going to be the quarterback there. John Gruden seems to have a connection with him. Hopefully they can draft a receiver and give him the weapons he needs. Nick Foles got traded to the Bears. I have a problem with this specifically because I have a problem with Nick Foles in general. He never should have left the Eagles. He only plays good in an Eagles jersey. Last year, he was going good. His first game of the whole season, on the pass that he threw, which broke his clavicle and was out for multiple weeks for that season, last season with the Jaguars, he threw a 75-yard touchdown and then got hit and went out for the whole season and could not be the same afterwards. I don't think putting him on the Bears will be any different. I still think Mitchell Trubisky is going to be the starting quarterback there. I feel bad for Nick Foles. This is why I have a problem with it. He was a good quarterback and now decided to just they're kind of throwing away his career. Matt Nagy, the quarterback the coach for the Bears, has worked with Nick Foles in the past. So who knows? Maybe Nick Foles will have a career in Chicago, but I'm not entirely sure. So there are many quarterbacks are going and switching teams, but also a lot of quarterbacks are re-signing. Drew Brees signed a 2-year, $50 million deal with the New Orleans Saints to come back and play. Not an extension, just a renew of the contract. But 2 quarterbacks specifically got huge deals this week. Kirk Cousins signed a 2-year, $66 million deal, an extension to go back to the Vikings. So now he has a 3-year deal worth up to $100 million, I think, which is insane. And Ryan Tannehill, Zach, signed a 4-year, $118 million deal with like $90 million guaranteed. And so now the Titans brought back their quarterback. So that whole idea of Tom Brady going to the Titans was gone after that day when Tannehill signed with the Titans. Yeah,
that's too much.
Do you know the story of Flowers for Algernon?
Yeah.
Where is this going?
Whoever's idea was it to give Ryan Tannehill that much money is the guy from Flowers for Algernon, but before he took the smartness pills. Oh my
Charlie
God.
Gordon?
Charlie Gordon. God, that is just so much money. So much money. I mean,
they saw what he did. They saw what he did last year, and they were like, you know what, we got to sign this guy.
Jake, fix your collar right now.
Sorry. Zach, have you seen how precise his handoffs are to Derrick Henry?
Okay.
Dude, that is worth all of the money. All of the money.
But the thing that captured my eye when I saw Tannehill getting signed, when I saw Kirk Cousins getting signed, when I saw even Teddy Bridgewater get a $60 million deal, Phillip Rivers got a $25 million deal from the Colts for a 1-year deal. How does this make the Cowboys look for not signing Dak Prescott? I think it is incredibly bad on Jerry Jones's part. I think they offered him a deal. I think Dak turned it down because there was some stuff going on. But they basically they franchise tagged him again. they signed Ezekiel Elliott to the extension, Jalen Smith, Van Der Esch. They signed all the players around him, but they also lost Byron Jones. They're one of the best corners in the league behind Stephon Gilmore. They lost Jason Witten, which I think is incredibly weird considering he came out of retirement last year to specifically play for the Cowboys, and now he signed with the Raiders, but that's a whole nother thing. But I think this just makes the Cowboys look really bad for not signing Dak Prescott, and I think Dak Prescott is a very talented quarterback. He hasn't had the team around him, and I'm not saying he deserves a $100-something million contract, but he doesn't deserve just this franchise tag. He deserves a long-term deal.
He deserves $20 and transportation fees to all the games.
Jake?
I think he's worth the money. I think that he has obviously had one of the best rookie careers for a quarterback in almost NFL history.
He put out Tony Romo.
I see you making that face, and I'm going to keep talking. Yeah, he outclassed and injured Tony Romo, which obviously isn't much he's injured, but prior to the injury, he beat his stat line. And obviously, Tony Romo said himself that he earned the starting job. And moving on, it was just Dak Prescott leading the Cowboys since then. So I think that he is worth the money to continue to lead them into this upcoming NFL season.
Another team
would say that they should want to kind of keep him just to have that team leader for now before investing in someone else. I'm not a fan of Dak Prescott. Okay, he had a great rookie season, but that was a while ago. And it wasn't that long ago, though. It was only a couple of years ago. So, I do believe that, he could, show that talent again. But for me, he just really hasn't. He's had a lot of promise, and he's had good seasons, just not incredible seasons. And the Cowboys are just taking it, just whatever they have. Even you said it before, Adam, that, they've got all this talent, but they're not doing anything, and they're just a poorly run organization at the moment. I think that they do want to keep him as a team leader, and if he can show, that he is a great quarterback again, then, yeah, keep him long term. But I'm fine with, just a franchise tag for now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
But he's definitely better than Teddy Bridgewater. So I think that the fact that he just has a franchise tag and Teddy Bridgewater has, $66 million, you said? That's
63. Yeah. There's 3 years. He's making $21 a year. The franchise tag for Dak is about $29.5 million, I think, or somewhere around there. So he's still making more than Teddy Bridgewater this year. But I do think he deserves a long-term deal. Than Teddy Bridgewater. But I also think it's in part with Jason Garrett, who was the head coach of the organization the whole time while he was there, these past 10 or whatever years. And I don't think Jason Garrett, he should have been fired a long time ago. I'll put it at that. I don't need to go on about Jason Garrett because I think everyone knows how he turned that organization into a flop, essentially. Another team that had a rough offseason, who has had a rough offseason this past week, has been the Los Angeles Rams. They have lost 7 of their top players, including Todd Gurley. So how do we feel about Todd Gurley signing with the Atlanta Falcons?
Well, I would love to see the Falcons be good again. So I'm all for it because they just have really cool uniforms. And I like Matt Ryan. And I love Julio Jones. So I would love to see them be good again. And I think Todd Gurley can absolutely help them do that.
Yeah, I agree. It was kind of heartbreaking to see them in the Super Bowl throw that big lead. So I think recently, I believe they cut Devontae Freeman recently.
Yeah, Devontae Freeman signed with the team. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, so now picking up Todd Gurley, I hope that they can at least make another run in the playoffs.
He's also joining former Rams player Devontae Fowler in Atlanta as well, who just signed a 3-year, $48 million deal. So now they're all they're together in Atlanta. I'm excited to see what Todd Gurley can do. I don't think he's done yet. There's this stereotype in the NFL where if a running back is 28 years old, which Todd Gurley I don't even think he is. I think he's 25 or something. But when a running back gets to a certain age, it's like they have nothing left. And Adrian Peterson is still going. He ran for 900 yards last year, almost 1,000 yards. So he's still going. I don't think it's fair I don't think it's fair to just cut a running back after a year. Like Todd Gurley last year, they clearly didn't use him enough. Sean McVay went out and said, Todd, we need to use you more. I don't think we're using him enough. We're relying on the passing game a lot. They had one of the best passing offenses in the league, and yet they had an all-pro running back in Todd Gurley right behind Jared Goff every snap they had, and didn't use him much. So I think that's disappointing, but I also think now on the Falcons, he has a better chance of kind of recapturing his career a little bit. He's still one of the highest paid, even though he signed a $6 million deal. He's still getting money from the Rams from incentives and stuff. He's still one of the highest paid running backs in the league, which I think is good for him. Another running back that signed today actually is Melvin Gordon, 2-year, $16 million deal with the Denver Broncos. So what do you think about Melvin Gordon leaving the Chargers? The Chargers lost Phillip Rivers. Melvin Gordon, who do we think is going to lead the Chargers back to the playoffs?
I think after the start of last year, they saw Austin Eckler dominate their backfield in the beginning of the season, with Melvin Gordon obviously on injury and contracts. But so I think after re-signing him, they're gonna put him and promote him to RB1 and keep him there to have him run the backfield for the Chargers.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to see what Melvin Gordon can do. They just cut Joe Flacco. I don't even know who the quarterback for the Broncos is going to be, because Case Keenum also left the Broncos. So I don't know who's going to be the quarterback there. Maybe they draft somebody. Speaking of draft picks, speaking of the draft, picks have been flying about the past couple days, just going from team to team. A team would get a draft pick and trade them away for another player. One of the biggest trades that happened so far, two big trades, both including wide receivers. The first one I'm talking about is Stephon Diggs. It was Stephon Diggs and a pick for 5 picks going to the Vikings to the Bills. So what do we think about Stephon Diggs on the Bills with a Josh Allen connection now? Zach?
Can you repeat the question?
What do we think about Stephon Diggs going to the Bills?
Oh, yeah. No, I like that. I think that he was maybe a little bit overvalued in that trade. He's good. He is good, and I'm sure you've seen the commercials that, his hands are very sticky. But that was a big trade. Despite that, I think he can help them a lot, especially on a team that, they had, John Brown, and he was doing good. But with Josh Allen, I like that. I think that, obviously, the Bills actually had a pretty good season this year, especially if the Patriots are going to be weakened. If they're having Stephon Diggs on that team, I could see them actually getting first in the division, depending on how strong the Patriots or how weak the Patriots end up being. That could be the Bills' division to lose. But how much of that is actually Stephon Diggs, I don't really know. But yeah. I like to see him on a new team. I like him. He's fun to watch. And I like to see what happens.
Yeah, I think he's another solid receiver to join the Bills receiving core, especially with Josh Allen having a really strong arm. So I think I'm going to make a bold prediction, that the Bills are going to win the division.
I just said
That's
that.
my prediction.
I just said that.
Shut up, Zach. And then I'm backing Zach. Bills are going to win the division. All right, Zach. I'm all aboard the Bills hype train.
Well, I wouldn't call it that. Bill. Cut that out.
Bleep.
Bloopers.
Cut it out. I wouldn't say I'm on the Bills hype train. Screw the Bills, but
all aboard. Get on.
No. I don't like the Bills.
Choo-choo.
No, I don't like the Bills. But
another trade that happened with the receiver this week, which I think is probably the stupidest trade.
I already know what you're going to say.
Has happened so far.
Yeah.
Bill O'Brien is literally just the most idiotic coach in the NFL. I think trading away probably the best receiver in the NFL under Julio Jones to the Arizona Cardinals for David Johnson. Everybody, David Johnson. an injury-prone running back who has not done anything in at least 3 years. Zach would know because he had him on his fantasy team, I think, right?
Yes, I did.
He did not do much.
I did.
Yeah, didn't he have like 3 weeks in a row with negative points or something, or like 0 points?
Oh, yes, he did. He had, I think, like his season high was 4 or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
So DeAndre Hopkins is now an Arizona Cardinal with one of the greatest receivers of all time, Larry Fitzgerald, who is 40 years old and still running routes for Kyler Murray. I think Cliff Kingsbury, a surprising coach coming out of Texas Tech, has done a great job last year. They won some games they weren't expected to win. And now with DeAndre Hopkins, like Kyler Murray has more room to kind of be the quarterback that he wants to be, can run around in the pocket and just throw it up there and give it to DeAndre Hopkins because he can literally, his hands are huge. He can catch anything. Just throw it up there and he can catch it.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to see the Cardinals next year. They're still in a pretty tough division, with the Rams and the 49ers. So it's going to be tough.
Kyler Murray has no excuse
he can do.
Well, Kyler Murray now, he has no excuses. Now he has one of the greatest. Now he's a Hall of Fame wide receiver, and he has one of the greatest receivers that I have ever watched. So having both of those, yeah, I know there's other factors that come into play for a quarterback, but he really can't say that he has no tools now. Now it's his offense to run. He's there to make plays now that he has other playmakers around him. It's his responsibility to get them the ball and give them good passes. If he can't do it, it's going to be on him, and it's not going to be on the receivers.
For sure. Jake?
No, I just agree with Zach because now he has – you're welcome. DeAndre Hopkins and Larry Fitzgerald. I don't know which one's going to be wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2, but even looking past them, they have a solid wide receiver 3 in Christian Kirk. So with 3 reliable, arguably solid receivers, it's now Kyler Murray's job to step up and lead the team with the tools that he has.
I also think if I'm Deshaun Watson right now, who was very tight with DeAndre Hopkins, I think you leave next year or you sit out the season. You don't let Bill O'Brien run the offense like this. He doesn't have a receiver. They don't have a solid running back. If you're going to call David Johnson a solid running back, I mean, that's fine, but I personally don't believe he is. The defense is whatever. They already lost to Davion Clowney last year. Who knows if J.J. Watt's going to be the same. I'm just disappointed in what happened in Houston. Michael Irvin went on Get Up a few days ago, which is a show on ESPN, a morning show, and he said that he spoke with DeAndre Hopkins, and DeAndre Hopkins basically said to him, Coach Bill, he came to me, he was like, now I need to have a meeting with you. The last time I had to have a meeting like this was with Aaron Hernandez. So clearly the relationship between DeAndre Hopkins and Bill O'Brien, I guess, wasn't the best. But then DeAndre Hopkins was like, even though that happened, I still have the utmost respect for Coach. And, I'm personally confused about the situation, but I'm excited to see what he's going to end up doing in Arizona after all.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, even if that did have an impact on the trade, it's still a terrible trade because you lost arguably the best receiver in the league right now, maybe behind Michael Thomas, but you could have still gotten a lot more for him.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah. David Johnson and a 4th-round pick and a 6th-rounder, something like that. Next year, it was an awful trade. Like, if you're going to trade away DeAndre Hopkins,
Lamar Miller. Yeah.
Who cares if he's 30 years old? Better. Who cares if he's 30 years old? Larry Fitzgerald is jumping 3 feet in the air and like it's nothing, and he's 40 years old. DeAndre Hopkins, I think, is one of those players you can obviously see as a generational talent. People may argue that having a receiver on a team doesn't make the most difference because of the quarterback. They control the offense and they create the plays. But I think if you have a top receiver like that, you take the chance you can get it, especially DeAndre Hopkins or a player like that of his stature. My favorite time of the show now, where we get to go off and talk about the Miami Dolphins. Yeah. So Miami Dolphins talk. Yay! The Dolphins have had a tremendous offseason, and I applaud Brian Flores and the whole staff of the organization right now. They signed Kyle Van Noy, star linebacker for the Patriots. Very excited. We took a few Patriots players, actually. We also took an O-lineman, too. We took Byron Jones, arguably one of the best corners in the league, which we just made him the highest paid cornerback in all football from the Cowboys. We got Shaq Lawson from the Bills, great defensive lineman, and Jordan Howard from the Eagles. That's the one move I don't really like. I don't think Jordan Howard can do much. On the other side, I think he is a little done. I think he had his career with the Bills. He was fine with the Eagles, but I think they really just wanted to get rid of him because Miles Sanders is clearly the up-and-coming back in Philly. Who knows? Maybe Jordan Howard will be great for us. We're building up our offensive line, but I think it's more important to draft a running back for sure. So what are you guys' thoughts on the Dolphins offseason so far? We signed about like 10 players or something.
I'm a bit confused as they're playing because last year the Dolphins plan and all the fans knew was #tank for Tua. And then as the college football season went on, it was tank for Joe Burrow. But then we won a couple of games and obviously dropped back in the draft. So then now we're back to tank for Tua. But I feel like all these off-season trades are going to boost our like team skill and whatever so that next year we're going to obviously do better than this year. So I feel like the Dolphins went from relying on the draft for players to using this draft now instead of more to come. But now we're going to use this draft and our offseason with current NFL players to hopefully boost us back out there. But
I think to have Xavier Howard and Byron Jones in the backfield is incredible, and I think that's gonna be a great backfield for the Miami Dolphins this season. I'm excited to see what they come up with. They are also are in talks. CBS Sports came out a few days ago. They said that the Miami Dolphins are in a blockbuster trade, are in talks to try and get a blockbuster trade going for the first pick in the draft for Joe Burrow. What do we think of possibly having Joe Burrow coming to the Miami Dolphins?
I think that he is a lot better than Tua in both stat-wise, and Tua's a lot more injury-prone.
I think how I feel about his skills as an NFL player, and there's no way to know this until you actually, put him in a game. But to me, I just have a feeling that he is going to get to the NFL, and he's going to be a college quarterback, and he's not going to be able to succeed in the NFL. And I know that he's coming from LSU. He's used to having big SEC defenses, but even still, just to me, I don't know if he's going to be successful. I wouldn't put too much money on him. I'd still be happy with him coming to the Dolphins. I still think he could, help the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins organization more so could help him and help mold him. Because right now I think the Dolphins are doing a fantastic job as an overall organization.
I think
changing recent years.
If Joe Burrow comes to the Dolphins, I think my whole idea of this quarterback situation is kind of put to rest. If Joe Burrow comes to the Dolphins, he will be the starting quarterback in my eyes, and Fitzpatrick will be that mentor on the bench. But if Tua comes, who is injury prone, if even Justin Herbert comes, who I think is a very talented quarterback and would love to see him in Miami, if Justin Herbert came, I think he would still be on the bench and Fitzpatrick would play out the rest of his season. If any other quarterback was drafted, I think that's what would happen. Joe Burrow, I just think, is on another level. I think seeing him in college playing against the Gators, our team, I think seeing him play against Georgia, seeing him play Alabama, he was just unstoppable, and he great throws. He had obviously amazing receivers, amazing tight ends, Randy Moss's kid, an amazing lineman, the best defense in college football. So he had a lot of tools around him. But that being said, the defenses, like Zach mentioned, were on another level compared to the rest of the NCAA. So I'm excited to see Joe Burrow in the NFL. I would love him to come to the Miami Dolphins, but I think if we're going to trade for him, then that would require us to give up our other first-round picks. We have the 17th pick and 20-something pick, and I think those are also very valuable because we can get a solid maybe O-lineman and maybe a solid running back if we can keep those 2 picks, like DeAndre Swift from Georgia, or there's people out there that I think the Dolphins could really use next season if we're not trying to rebuild right now.
I would like to see Justin Herbert on the Dolphins. I don't know if you guys saw, how he's able to just, how far he can sling it even with no step, just whatever you call it, the standstill. That's just incredible to me. It's like magic. I don't know. It's just a level of arm strength and ability that I think is more important than whatever else you see in college football, because that's what will translate to the NFL.
I think he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the draft by far. He is a big 6'6" guy. He has that big arm, but I think all the analysts and they're really they're undervaluing his running ability, his ability to move out of the pocket. There were multiple Oregon highlights that I saw last year where he was scrambling and diving for touchdowns, kind of like a Josh Allen kind of guy who likes to get physical. So I think that was really impressive to see from Justin Herbert last year, and I think he is incredibly undervalued in this draft coming up. Todd McShay, Mel Kiper, the leading analysts who we see all their player rankings to the draft every year and stuff, and they're usually always wrong, but whatever. They placed Jordan Love ahead of Justin Herbert in recent rankings of the draft, who played for Utah State, who played against horrible defenses, had no receivers on his team, and yet is being called a very talented quarterback. And I wouldn't doubt he is. Maybe he is a great quarterback, but I just don't think I didn't see anything that saw any of it. I would like to see Justin Herbert in Miami, like you said, Zach, and but I think Joe Burrow would be incredibly on another level for me.
I don't think the Jordan Love comparison is very fair because, like you just said, it's bad defenses, and even against that, he threw the most interceptions in college football last year. But Justin Herbert, on the other hand, is able to beat these defenses both with his arms and his legs. So as the Dolphins build their O-line, I think Justin Herbert is a solid fit to rely on legs too, and also his natural throwing ability and football IQ and his ability to see the field.
I definitely see more of a comparison between Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert than I do with any of the other quarterbacks in the draft, because they're both big guys with big arms who like to get physical, and who like to dive for touchdowns, and but who can also pass the ball amazing. I'm excited to see the draft. This whole coronavirus situation, it's crazy. Everything was closing. All the sports leagues. Zach, the XFL, man. What do you think of the XFL? It's not going on because the coronavirus. People can't be together. They can't play football.
Yeah, it sucks.
It does. It sucks so bad. All the leagues, man.
Well, I care less about the professional sports being canceled, and I care more about high school sports being canceled. Our season's just cut off like that.
I know golf already finished, so that finished early.
No, I said sports. No, I said sports.
Got him.
I think we covered a lot today. And
wait! Before we go, so I have mentioned several times that I am close personal friends with Antonio Brown, but until recently I've had no proof. So I actually have proof. If you bear with me for just a second, I'm pulling up my camera roll on the computer because if any of you guys follow Antonio Brown on Instagram, I was featured on his Instagram story. Hold on just a second. This is being annoyingly slow here.
Are you sharing the screen?
I'm going to share the screen once I get to it, but we don't need to look through my entire camera roll. You can't see anything anyway because it's loading. This could be a second, so bear with me.
As Zach finds that, can we just grieve and be sad on that March Madness was canceled?
Yeah, March Madness.
The best time of the year, and
yeah. Like, they went from the tournament, obviously, to no fans to just nothing at all.
Yeah. Because even for the players, that might be a lot. You see a lot of NBA players. NBA has the most out of sports, I think, by far. 2 Lakers players came out yesterday. Marcus Smart from the Celtics said he had it. Kevin Durant was one of the Nets players that had it.
Nuggets.
Yeah, there's people all over the NBA. Donovan Mitchell.
I'm almost there on that January 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Let's let it load.
But
Approaching. Oh, you're in that picture, Adam.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So are you and Antonio Brown like homies? You just like slide over to his house some days?
Yeah. And I met his sister too. I'm not his sister. His daughter. Pardon me. His daughter. Oh. Actually, this isn't what we were looking for, but we can look at this picture.
No.
Yeah. No. You guys will like these. Here. Let's go right here. Share. All right. This is me with my water polo trophy. Hold on. Just it's not letting me switch photos. I'm trying to go to the next picture, and it's okay. Oh. This is from my internationals tournament. As you can see here.
I just wanted to say, going back to the trophy, I would obviously assume that Cooper could easly take that again this year.
Do you not have the Antonio Brown?
Canceled.
I do. I'm just scrolling to get there. This is that was. Oh.
Elmo. Hi, Elmo. Homer Simpson.
Okay. Sorry. Oh yeah. This is yeah. Oh, Ken and friend. Oh, this is make your point.
Episode 3.
Okay. Oh, there it is.
Oh.
There it is. That's me and my best friend Antonio Brown.
If any of you said he wasn't a real one, was that?
Look at this. All right, guys, watch this. This is his Instagram story.
Where are you? Me. Oh, there you are.
There on the left. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, basically we're best friends.
That's me. Oh, that's yeah. We don't have to play. That's
no. We're gonna play this.
We're gonna have to bleep this all though. We're gonna have to bleep this all.
No, it's not working. Oh.
All right. Take it off split screen. We can't hear any of it, but anyways, take it off split screen.
Because Jake was like, stop recording. I'm like, I'm not recording. And he's like, turn the camera around. So then I had to stop.
So you put it, yeah.
All right. While Zach is going through his camera roll, I would like to say that I hope all is well with everyone during this coronavirus crisis. And if you do have it, I hope you are feeling well and everything is okay. So as we end off with Zach's water polo pictures, I would like to say thank you. Thank you, Jake, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Zach. And
look who it is.
That's me.
Look, it's Adam.
All right. So I guess from me and you and Jake, we'll see you. And thank you so much for watching this quarantine edition, free agency edition of Make Your Point. Apologies to our dear friend Shaquille O'Neal. Sorry we couldn't get you on the show this time, man, but we will try next week.
Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe.
And remember the golden rule.